Welcome to this explainer. Today we are looking back at a truly historic, incredibly dramatic 24-hour window from July 2026. Literally within a single day, the AI industry experienced this massive seismic shift as both xAI and OpenAI dropped their highly anticipated frontier AI models. We basically went to sleep with one AI landscape and woke up to a completely different one. Okay, let's dive into this. That release week instantly transformed from a standard product cycle into an intense, industry-wide referendum on three crucial things: AI price, speed, and raw capabilities. On one side, it turns out we have xAI making a massive play for efficiency with Grok 4.5. And then on the other, OpenAI is pushing the absolute ceiling of intelligence with their new GPT 5.6 family. So here is our roadmap for making sense of this showdown. 1. The frontier model standoff. 2. The coarser training advantage. 3. Decoding the benchmarks. 4. The cost optimization playbook. And 5. Choosing the right model. Make sure you stick around to the end of this explainer too, because we're going to get into some highly actionable, money-saving FinOps advice that you absolutely need to hear. Section 1. The frontier model standoff. So how exactly are these two massive releases positioning themselves in the market? The contrast here is fascinating. xAI's Grok 4.5 is built specifically as a budget and efficiency coding specialist. Coming in at a massive 1.5 trillion parameters, it's aggressively targeting high-volume coding workflows. OpenAI's GPT 5.6, specifically their flagship SOL model, takes a totally different path. It's focused entirely on raw capability and complex task coordination across subagents. Notably, OpenAI's release actually followed a unique trajectory, with GPT 5.6 clearing a government cybersecurity review requested by the Trump administration before it was expanded globally. So we're looking at two completely different philosophies launching on the exact same day. Section 2. The cursor training advantage. To really understand Grok 4.5, we have to realize it wasn't trained like a traditional language model at all. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between learning the process versus learning the product. See, most AI models learn to code by reading static, polished code on GitHub. That's the finished product. But through a joint training initiative with the code editor Cursor, Grok 4.5 was trained on behavioral data. It learned from real-time developer workflows. It watched how developers actively think, how they debug, and crucially, what suggestions they just throw away. By training on these actual real-world interaction traces, Grok 4.5 actually learned developer intent. It understands what it means to make mid-refactor edits when a file is broken. It understands that messy back-and-forth rhythm of debugging. And it can navigate all of this context across a massive 500,000 token context window. It's literally the difference between reading a textbook on carpentry versus apprenticing under a master builder and actually watching them work. Section 3. Decoding the benchmarks. Now, what's really interesting about this data is how it translates to the real world. When we look at objective numbers from artificial analysis and their coding agent index, the sheer economic disruption Grok 4.5 represents becomes totally clear. Grok 4.5 scored a highly competitive 76 on the index. But look at that cost per task. Grok 4.5 accomplishes a coding task for just $2.49. For context, GPT 5.5 comes in at $5.07, and Claude Fable 5 costs $11.80. Grok is achieving near-frontier intelligence at a mere fraction of the cost of those premium models. But what's fantastic here is that the cost advantage isn't just about the sticker price per token, it's actually about efficiency. On Sweetbench Pro Tasks, which is an industry-standard coding test, Grok 4.5 uses about 15,900 output tokens to solve a problem. Claude Opus 4.8 requires over 67,000 tokens for the exact same task. Grok is literally solving tasks using over 4 times fewer output tokens. Because it was trained on developer behavior, it just gets straight to the point. No fluff. However, we do have to look at the full picture here. Artificial analysis highlights a critical caveat. While Grok 4.5's overall knowledge accuracy improved significantly over Grok 4.3, its hallucination rate spiked from 25% to 54%. This is a super common pattern in AI. As this 1.5 trillion parameter model learned more, it also became more confidently wrong. You absolutely have to design your systems to catch these confident errors. Section 4. The cost optimization playbook. Using some brilliant insights from the FinOps experts at Lush Binary, we can see exactly where budgets tend to go wrong. Looking at the raw API pricing for Grok 4.5, input is $2 per million tokens. Cached input drops to $0.5. But output is $6. So the crucial point is that output tokens are 3 times more expensive than input tokens. And remember those internal thinking or reasoning tokens generated by the model before it gives you an answer? Yeah, those are billed as output tokens. If you aren't careful, those hidden reasoning tokens will heavily impact your bottom line. But this pricing structure actually builds into an incredible saving opportunity. By utilizing prompt caching, which basically means setting up a stable prefix, like your system instructions and code-based context, and sending a prompt cache key, you get a massive 75% discount on the input side. You drop your input costs from $2 all the way down to 0.50 per million tokens, and you do it without changing a single output token. That is a game changer. So here is your checklist to implement today. First, tune your reasoning effort parameter. It defaults to high, which just burns those expensive output tokens, so move routine tasks to low or medium. Next up, beware the 200K threshold trap. While Grok does support 500,000 tokens, xAI applies a premium rate to any context over 200,000 tokens, so keep your working windows lean. Third, make absolutely sure you cache those stable system prompts. And finally, always track your costs per task, not just your cost per token. Section 5. Choosing the right model. So, how should CTOs, engineers, and product managers actually route their workflows today? Well, the data points to a very clear architecture. Relying exclusively on a single, expensive flagship model is no longer the smartest play. The optimal strategy right now is a multi-model gateway. You use Grok 4.5 for your high-volume, routine coding workflows, agentic tasks, and massive log analysis, because, as we saw, it's incredibly efficient. Then, you build a routing layer to send only the absolute hardest, edge case reasoning tasks to premium models like GPT-0.6 Sol or Claude 4.5. Which leaves us with this final, critical thought. Look closely at your current AI architecture. Are you paying a premium for a flagship model on every single API call, when a highly trained, efficient specialist could do the exact same job for a fraction of the cost? It might be time to audit your agent workflows, optimize those reasoning parameters, and rethink what frontier really means for your budget. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helps you build smarter and faster.